It was a bright, bustling morning at Meridian International Airport, when a glossy promise of first-class service met the unpredictable reality of human nature. Amid the clamor of boarding announcements and the steady hum of rolling suitcases, one woman was about to challenge the assumptions of an entire crew. Simone Harris, confident, stylish, and unapologetically herself, stepped up to the exclusive check-in counter. Clad in a designer blazer and carrying a sleek leather bag, Simone had carefully cultivated an image of VIP status. With perfectly styled hair and an air of self-assurance, she projected the kind of polished elegance that many equated with high social standing. However, as Simone presented her boarding pass, a group of airline staff exchanged knowing smirks. One attendant, barely concealing his amusement, leaned over and muttered, "Looks like someone's trying too hard." The laughter that followed was low and dismissive, a quiet mockery aimed squarely at her. To the staff's eyes, Simone's status appeared contrived. Her VIP credentials, nothing more than an elaborate facade meant to impress. The atmosphere at the counter grew tense, with whispered comments and subtle eye rolls punctuating every interaction. Unbeknownst to Simone, her carefully constructed image was about to be dismantled by an unexpected twist of fate. As she waited for her boarding call, the murmurs of derision reached the ears of Captain Marcus Reed, a seasoned pilot with a reputation for integrity and fairness. Having spent decades in the skies, Captain Reed had seen his share of vanity and pretense. Yet he always valued substance over superficiality. When he overheard the airline staff's dismissive laughter, something stirred within him. In that moment, as Simone's smile faltered under the weight of scrutiny, the pilot made a decision that would change everything. Without warning, Captain Reed strode over to the check-in counter, his presence commanding respect. With quiet authority, he inquired about Simone's credentials, his tone carrying both curiosity and a challenge. The ensuing conversation crackled with tension, as it became apparent that what the staff had dismissed as fake was, in fact, the genuine article. Simone's heart pounded. She had always believed that hard work and authenticity would eventually shine through, and now it seemed that the truth was about to be revealed. As onlookers held their breath, the stakes of that ordinary morning soared to extraordinary heights. The scene was set. A woman who dared to claim her space in a world that too often underestimated her, and a pilot ready to expose the shallow judgments of those around him. In that split second, everything was about to change, and what happened next would leave everyone, from the skeptical staff to Simone herself, utterly speechless. Meridian International Airport was a microcosm of modern travel. Sleek terminals with polished floors, digital flight displays that glowed against an early morning sky, and a steady flow of passengers from every walk of life. The airport's ambience was both futuristic and efficient, designed to cater to an elite clientele while also serving as a gateway for millions of travelers. Yet within this buzzing hub, subtle hierarchies and unspoken judgments often dictated who truly belonged. Simone Harris had worked hard to carve out her place in this world. A self-made professional in her early 30s, she had risen from humble beginnings through determination and unyielding perseverance. Her journey had not been easy. She had faced countless obstacles and bias along the way. But she had learned to embrace her identity and project a sense of empowerment. Today, Simone was dressed impeccably in a tailored blazer, a silk blouse, and perfectly cut trousers. Her accessories were understated yet elegant. A statement watch and a delicate necklace that had been a gift from her late grandmother. Every detail of her appearance was a testament to the battles she had fought and the victories she had won. Across the counter, the airline staff worked with an air of routine indifference. Some were new faces, while others had been with the company for years and had grown accustomed to the norms of the industry. Their interactions were laced with a sense of entitlement, a belief that only a certain type of passenger was worthy of VIP treatment. To them, Simone's credentials seemed contrived, a desperate attempt to mimic a lifestyle that, in their eyes, wasn't meant for someone like her. Then there was Captain Marcus Reed, a seasoned pilot in his late 50s known for his no-nonsense approach and deep-rooted commitment to fairness. With decades of flying experience under his belt, Captain Reed had seen the best and worst of humanity at 35,000 feet. He believed that true status wasn't defined by a flashy boarding pass or expensive attire, but by one's character and integrity. His reputation among his peers was built on respect and an unwavering sense of duty. When he learned of the ridicule aimed at Simone, his curiosity was piqued, not to defend her solely for appearances, but because he sensed that there was more to her story than met the eye. The stage for this unfolding drama was set in the bustling check-in area of Meridian International. The space was a blend of modern design and efficiency, with digital displays announcing flights and a constant murmur of voices that spoke of travel plans and everyday aspirations. Here, every passenger was judged not just by their ticket, but by the aura they projected. And in this competitive environment, superficial judgments often obscured deeper truths. Simone's presence in the VIP line was a carefully nurtured blend of ambition and authenticity. While some doubted her credentials based on preconceived notions, her determination to succeed was unmistakable. The subtle details of her expression, a slight tightening of her jaw, a momentary flicker of apprehension when faced with derision, revealed the vulnerability behind her polished exterior. Meanwhile, the dismissive sneers and whispered remarks from the airline staff underscored the rigid boundaries of class and privilege they were so desperate to maintain. As the morning progressed, the tension between those who clung to outdated hierarchies and those striving for true recognition became palpable. The airport, usually a stage for fleeting encounters, was now witnessing a confrontation that would challenge the very definitions of respect and authenticity. The characters were set against a backdrop of ambition, prejudice, and the relentless pursuit of a better life. A world where every gesture, every word, carried the potential to either uplift or destroy. It was in this environment that the seeds of transformation were sown, a moment that would eventually force everyone involved to confront the superficial judgments of the past and embrace a future defined by true merit and integrity. The tension reached a boiling point at the check-in counter as the airline staff's laughter and dismissive remarks about Simone's fake VIP status filled the air. Whispers swirled among the onlookers, and some passengers rolled their eyes in disapproval. Simone felt a growing sting of humiliation. Each laugh, each derisive comment, struck at the core of her hard-earned identity. Determined not to let this injustice define her day, she tried to maintain her composure, her eyes fixed on the digital display of her flight. Yet, as minutes ticked by, the whispers grew louder and more mocking. A young attendant, barely concealing his snicker, muttered under his breath, "Who does she think she is?" while another exchanged a knowing look with a colleague. The staff's collective behavior painted a picture of exclusivity that seemed unassailable in their eyes, until the unexpected happened. As Simone waited, a familiar figure emerged from the boarding gate area. Captain Marcus Reed, having heard the commotion, approached the counter. His presence was calm but commanding. His eyes scanned the scene with a quiet intensity. "Excuse me," he said, addressing the staff. "I'd like to confirm the VIP status of this passenger." His tone was neutral, yet the underlying challenge was clear. The staff, caught off guard by his direct intervention, faltered for a moment, an opening that did not go unnoticed by Simone. Captain Reed's inquiry set off a chain reaction. The attendant, suddenly on edge, fumbled with the boarding pass and began to stammer explanations. In that brief lapse, the truth of Simone's credentials emerged. She was indeed a verified VIP passenger, with all the necessary documentation to prove it. The digital record on the screen confirmed her status, one that had been meticulously earned through years of hard work and dedication. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the crowd as the staff's smug expressions turned to shock. Some passengers exchanged glances of triumph, while others quietly recorded the unfolding reversal on their phones. For Simone, the moment was both vindicating and bittersweet. The humiliation she had endured was suddenly being washed away by the revelation that her credentials were valid, and that the ridicule had been based solely on prejudice. Yet, the conflict was far from resolved. The staff's initial reaction, now exposed as baseless, sparked a heated debate among the airline employees. Some tried to downplay the situation, whispering excuses about mistaken identity or miscommunication, while others looked away, unwilling to meet the eyes of the vindicated Simone. The atmosphere was thick with tension as the room's dynamics shifted. What was once a simple check-in had morphed into a microcosm of larger social issues, a clash between rigid elitism and hard-earned authenticity. In the midst of this growing storm, Simone felt a whirlwind of emotions. She had long fought against the barriers imposed by those who believed in maintaining outdated hierarchies, and this moment was yet another battle in that ongoing war. The mixture of humiliation and relief warred within her, each sneer and dismissive glance from the staff now tempered by the powerful intervention of Captain Reed. Her heart pounded with a mix of anxiety and determination. She knew that this small victory was just the beginning of a larger struggle for respect and recognition. As the digital evidence of her VIP status became undeniable, the conversation in the check-in area turned toward accountability. Passengers and even some employees began to voice their support for Simone. "She's worked too hard to be mocked like this," one traveler remarked quietly, his tone filled with genuine empathy. The incident, initially engineered by the staff's narrow-minded views, was now evolving into a public statement about the value of authenticity over superficial appearances. Every whispered conversation, every shared video clip on social media, and every supportive nod from a bystander added fuel to the growing fire of accountability. What had begun as an act of petty ridicule was now a symbol of resistance, a testament to the idea that true status could not be faked or diminished by ignorance. The conflict buildup had set the stage for a dramatic escalation, one that would force the airline staff to confront the consequences of their deep-rooted prejudice. By the end of that turbulent morning, the check-in counter had become more than just a place of travel. It had transformed into a battleground for dignity, respect, and the affirmation of hard-earned success. The seeds of change were sown in that moment, promising that the deeper issues of bias and elitism within the system would soon be brought to light. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation that would not only vindicate Simone, but also challenge the very foundations of those who had tried to belittle her. In the days following the incident at Meridian International, the story of Simone Harris and her vindication quickly spread beyond the confines of the airport. Social media platforms exploded with shared videos, screenshots, and impassioned posts. Hashtags like #RealVIP and #RespectHardWork trended nationally, and local news outlets seized on the story as a symbol of the fight against superficial elitism and prejudice in customer service. Within the airline's headquarters, the internal investigation into the check-in incident was launched with an urgency that shocked even the most seasoned executives. Senior management, concerned about the public relations nightmare unfolding, convened emergency meetings. "We pride ourselves on serving our customers with respect and integrity," one executive lamented, reviewing the digital logs that confirm Simone's rightful VIP status. The investigation revealed that the laughter and derision from the staff had been rooted not in any error of procedure, but in a deep-seated bias, a bias that had led them to dismiss a customer who did not fit their narrow expectations. As evidence piled up, the airline's internal communications began to crack. Some staff members, previously complicit in the mockery, began to question the validity of their own actions. Private conversations and leaked emails revealed that several employees had harbored doubts about the appropriateness of their behavior, though they had remained silent for fear of repercussions. Now, in the face of overwhelming public scrutiny, those doubts turned into open criticism of the company's outdated attitudes. Across the city, community leaders and civil rights advocates took notice. A well-known local activist organized a public forum at a community center, urging citizens to speak out against discrimination in all its forms. "This is not just about one woman's VIP status," the activist declared passionately. It's about the notion that our worth is measured by how well we conform to a narrow set of expectations. True success is earned through hard work, resilience, and authenticity. His words resonated with a wide audience, and soon, town hall meetings were buzzing with discussions about reforming customer service practices and embracing true diversity. Meanwhile, within the airline, tensions escalated further when a senior pilot, Captain Marcus Reed, who had already earned a reputation as a champion for fairness, publicly backed Simone's case. In a statement released to the press, Captain Reed declared, "Our passengers come from all walks of life, and each deserves respect. When we mock someone's genuine achievements, we not only tarnish our own reputation, but also undermine the very values we claim to uphold." His words carried significant weight, and as they reverberated through internal memos and public interviews, they forced the company's leadership to take a hard look at the systemic biases within their ranks. The investigation's findings were soon leaked to the media. A dossier of internal emails, digital logs, and video footage that captured the entire incident in stark detail. The public response was immediate and overwhelming. Support for Simone poured in from every corner, and the once dismissive laughter of the airline staff became a symbol of everything that was wrong with the system. Protesters gathered outside the airline's headquarters, holding signs such as "Real status is earned" and "No to prejudice in service," and local television channels featured extensive segments on the scandal. Back at Meridian International, the atmosphere of the check-in area had changed dramatically. Passengers who had witnessed the incident or heard about it expressed solidarity with Simone, and many questioned the judgment of those who had mocked her. The digital evidence left little room for doubt, and every shared video clip, every tweet of support, further eroded the credibility of the airline staff's earlier behavior. Within the company, the board of directors was forced to confront the fallout. Heated debates ensued over the future of employee training and the need for a cultural shift. "We need to instill a new set of values," one board member declared during a closed meeting. "If we do not address this now, our reputation and our integrity are at risk." The call for reform grew louder by the day, with demands that every staff member undergo sensitivity training and that a thorough review of internal policies be initiated. Amid this escalating turmoil, Simone herself began to receive messages of support and encouragement from unexpected quarters. Former colleagues, industry insiders, and even celebrities expressed their admiration for her perseverance. "Your hard work and authenticity speak volumes," one message read, and another stated, "Never let anyone tell you your success isn't real." These messages bolstered Simone's confidence and reinforced her belief that true status could not be diminished by ignorance. By the end of this turbulent period, the incident had become a catalyst for profound change, not only within the airline, but also across the broader industry. The rising tension, driven by the unyielding demand for accountability, set the stage for a dramatic turning point that would force the company to re-examine its values and take concrete steps toward reform. Every new piece of digital evidence, every impassioned protest, and every supportive comment on social media contributed to a growing chorus that demanded, "Enough is enough." The stage was now set for the final act, a moment when the consequences of shallow prejudice would be met with the full force of accountability, ensuring that no act of discrimination would ever go unchallenged. The decisive moment arrived on a crisp morning in a packed conference room at the headquarters of the airline. Senior executives, legal advisors, community leaders, and members of the media had gathered to hear the final resolution of the internal investigation into the check-in incident. With a calm yet authoritative presence, the company's CEO, Jonathan Price, stepped up to the podium. After an exhaustive review of all the digital records, security footage, and eyewitness testimonies, it is unequivocal that the behavior exhibited by our staff was not due to any error in procedure, but stemmed from a deep-rooted prejudice. Jonathan began, his voice firm and resolute. "This is not merely a customer service issue. It is a fundamental failure of our values. Effective immediately, we are taking swift disciplinary action against all employees involved in mocking and undermining a truly earned status. Our records clearly confirm that Simone Harris is a legitimate VIP passenger, whose credentials have been verified beyond doubt. A heavy silence fell over the room as Jonathan continued. This decision is not just about punishment. It is a commitment to rebuilding trust, both within our organization and with the community we serve. No one, regardless of their position, will be allowed to let bias dictate how we treat our customers. His words reverberated in the room, and every eye was fixed on him, absorbing the weight of his declaration. At that moment, a representative for the affected community, a respected figure known for advocating equality, rose to speak. Today, we stand together in affirming that hard work, integrity, and authenticity define true success, she declared, her voice clear and passionate. We will not allow shallow judgments and outdated prejudices to tarnish the accomplishments of those who have earned every bit of their status. Let this be a turning point for our industry, a day when accountability triumphs over ignorance. The crowd erupted in applause, and even some of the previously skeptical staff members looked down, chastened by the undeniable evidence. Following this, Inspector Daniel Martinez presented the final dossier, a comprehensive compilation of internal logs, digital records, and video evidence that detailed every moment of the incident. Every piece of evidence painted an irrefutable picture of bias that had no place in a modern, inclusive service environment. The Internal Affairs panel unanimously supported the decision to impose strict disciplinary measures, including retraining and, for some, termination. In that pivotal moment, the balance of power shifted irreversibly. The decision announced by Jonathan Price was a resounding declaration that discrimination, in any form, would no longer be tolerated. The faces of those implicated, captured on camera in the final moments of the investigation, reflected shock, regret, and a dawning realization that their actions had consequences far beyond a single incident. For Simone Harris, the vindication was complete. The truth of her credentials and the recognition of her hard-earned status had been laid bare for all to see. The turning point not only marked a new chapter for the airline, but also ignited a broader movement for accountability and reform across the industry. As the final words were spoken in that conference room, every person present felt the undeniable power of truth prevailing over prejudice, a moment that promised lasting change for a future defined by respect and inclusion. In the weeks that followed the landmark decision, the airline embarked on a journey of deep, systemic reform. News of the sweeping disciplinary measures and the public commitment to inclusion spread rapidly through local media and social networks, sparking an industry-wide conversation about the true meaning of VIP status and customer respect. Simone Harris, whose dignity had been vindicated that fateful day, emerged as an unexpected symbol of perseverance and authenticity. Invitations to speak at industry events and community forums began to pour in, and she soon found herself celebrated not only as a successful professional, but also as a role model for those who had ever been dismissed by shallow prejudices. True status isn't just about appearances, she explained at one public meeting. It's earned through hard work, integrity, and the courage to stand by who you are. Her words resonated deeply with audiences, and her story quickly became a rallying cry for change. Within the airline, CEO Jonathan Price and his executive team implemented a series of reforms designed to ensure that every customer, regardless of background, was treated with the respect they deserved. New training programs on cultural sensitivity and unbiased customer service were rolled out across all departments. Regular reviews of staff performance were mandated, and a transparent system for handling internal complaints was established. We are committed to creating an environment where every employee understands that our success depends on the dignity we extend to all our passengers, Jonathan declared in a follow-up press conference. His determination to rebuild trust sent a powerful message to both employees and customers. The internal changes quickly reverberated throughout the industry. Other airlines, prompted by the public outcry and the compelling evidence presented by Meridian International, began to re-examine their own customer service policies. Industry panels and regulatory bodies held discussions on how to combat bias in service environments, ensuring that the lessons learned from this incident would lead to lasting change. Social media campaigns celebrated the new era of accountability, and hashtags like hashtag TrueVIP and hashtag RespectEarned trended, reinforcing the idea that authenticity and hard work were the true markers of success. In a local community, the incident sparked a broader dialogue about diversity, inclusion, and the value of genuine recognition. Community leaders organized workshops, town hall meetings, and public events aimed at dismantling outdated stereotypes and promoting unity. Banners reading "Every Achievement Matters" and "Break the Bias" were seen throughout Central City, serving as daily reminders of the progress being made. As Central City slowly settled back into its routine, the legacy of that transformative day endured. The story of how a shallow, prejudiced laugh had been turned on its head served as a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. For Simone, the journey from humiliation to vindication had not only changed her life, but had also ignited a movement, one that challenged institutions to value substance over appearance and integrity over prejudice. At a final celebratory event held at the city's cultural center, community members, airline staff, and industry leaders gathered to honor the new standards of respect and inclusion. In his closing remarks, CEO Jonathan Price proclaimed, "Today we celebrate not just a victory for one individual, but a turning point for our entire community. Let us continue to build a future where every person's achievements are recognized and every voice is respected." His words were met with resounding applause and a collective promise that the hard-won lessons of the past would guide us toward a brighter, more equitable tomorrow. In the end, the story of that day, what began as a shallow mockery and ended as a profound awakening, became a symbol of hope, accountability, and the enduring power of truth. The legacy of deep-rooted prejudice was shattered by the courage of one woman's authenticity and the unwavering commitment of a community determined to redefine success on its own terms. And as each new day dawned over Central City, it carried with it the promise that true respect, once earned, is a light that can never be dimmed.